everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited today. We have one of the stars of the new show, Ride, with us. We have Tyler Jacob Moore. And thank you so much, Tyler, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. This is so nice. Nice to be here.
Yes, you're our first interview from Ride. So we're really excited.
I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be interviewed about it. This is great. It's so nice to meet you and get to do this. It's so
We've
fun.
technically we've had Marcus on before, but it's been a couple years, so it wasn't for
I
Ride.
Yeah, I love Marcus. He's such a sweetheart, and we had worked together years ago. There's a show on ABC called Once Upon a Time, and I played Prince Hans in that, and he
Yes.
played my brother. And
Okay.
so we worked together a little bit, and it was really funny when I saw him on the set of Ride. We both had pictures that we remembered and pulled up and showed each other of when we played brothers all those years ago. So it's always fun to like run into people
Reconnect.
you work with, and he's such a sweetheart and lovely guy. So it's so nice to be working with him and continue to, in flashbacks and things like that. So it's nice.
Yeah, that's the thing in this world of kind of Hallmark movies, and it just probably movies in general. You don't want to burn any bridges because it's a small world.
Right. That's true. Yeah, everybody's around. Everybody's always doing something. You always run into the same people. It's a small working world for sure. So yeah, you're right. You definitely don't want to burn any bridges.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big Once Upon a Time fan.
Oh, nice.
So it must have been fun to play like a villain.
Yeah. Yeah, and that type of villain where it's just so, over the top and wild, like a proper villain, a proper Disney, villain. It was super fun. And it's a weird, there's a weird Once Upon a Time theme because, Marcos was on, he played my brother in that, and Tiara was on it for, I think, the last season, or even a couple seasons she was on it and got to be in that world. And we, met a lot of the same people, Colin, who played Hook, and, we both knew his family and hung out. So it was kind of a, cross-pollination of worlds there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would be fun. And just being part of like such a big production as Once Upon a Time was, I think would be so fun.
So the costumes, fun. And all the special effects. We're on a boat, like in the sea, and all the big pirate ship, and it was very cool, very fun experience.
Yeah. So what first inspired you to get into acting?
Well, even as a kid, my brother used to make movies, and I used to star in them. So he was always behind the scenes, like making home videos, and I was always the hammy, brother running around starring in his movies. So
you'd be on TikTok today, probably.
Yeah, we kind of just kept doing that, and so I found the agent that I'm with today through random. We did some indie movie, years and years ago, and somebody saw it and introduced me to my agent, who I'm still with today and love, and I just sort of kept working and got into it. And I mean, it's great work if you can get it. It's there's a lot of ups and downs and big swings and big highs and lows, but I feel very fortunate to be able to even do it. So
did you go to like film school or theater school or anything like that?
I majored in musical theater at a Christian liberal arts school, Palm Beach Atlantic University, way down in West Palm Beach, Florida. They had a really great theater program there, and the head of it was a professor from like the Tisch School at NYU. Just really, really, I really liked it. And so, majored in musical theater. I was in the first musical production of Footloose in Florida. Randomly in college, but so the singing and dancing and all that stuff is kind of I haven't done that in quite a while because hasn't been an opportunity to do that, but used to have the ability for sure.
That's so cool. I mean, I'm a huge musical theater fan. I do not only film criticism, but I also do theater criticism. I'm actually going to see Hairspray tonight.
Reviewing that.
I love Hairspray so much.
So many things. I loved it when Spielberg did West Side Story. So seeing it in the theater on the big screen with a big audience was almost like a theater. I mean, it was like watching a theater production. You know what I mean? Like just and the musical numbers, and they were just all it was amazing. So fun. So it's so cool.
I think I might actually prefer Spielberg's over the original.
I know that It sounds sort of sacrilegious, but I think I do too.
I just think they have better chemistry and
voice, her voice,
unbelievable.
Yeah, like you hear it's not even a human voice. You're like, hey, that can't. It's just the tones coming out. It's the way I felt about when I saw the trailer for the new Little Mermaid. That girl's voice, just out of this world. It's
beautiful
like
voice.
Yeah,
that's my most. I mean, I am very nervous about that movie because these remakes are not usually for me, the Disney remakes.
But they seem to keep pumping them out.
And they do, and they keep making I think this thing's going to make $1 billion, but I there's things about it that concern me, but not her and her singing.
Her voice. That first trailer, I was like, oh well, that's obvious. There's a reason why she was cast in that.
Yeah, which is hard because I mean, Jodie Benson, the original singer, is legend. I mean, she's amazing. So that's hard to compare.
I have a really good friend who does Disney animation and has worked there for years, and he was working on in like this secret project for their big. It's either 100 or 150.
100 year,
their big 100-year thing. And so he got to work with they brought back like all the old voice animation actors for this secret project. And so he was just, I mean, he's such a fan, and he was just freaking out because he's in the room with like, the voice actors of, Beauty and the Beast and the Little Mermaid and like all these epic, amazing people. And he was in heaven. So it's so cool. So
I would have been in heaven too. I love animation as well as rom-coms.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
You were on GCB.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask, is Kristen Chenoweth the nicest person?
Yes. Yeah. That's right.
Good.
She's a sweet. She is. I tell this story because I think it's funny. I don't think she would mind. Is that like when we email back and forth, she always emails everything in the subject. She doesn't know how to. Hasn't quite worked out, how to use email, I guess. And she is such a goofball and so sweet. But like, you have to highlight the subject and scroll through the whole thing because her whole email's in the subject.
That's so funny. Just yesterday on her Instagram, she made like Easter dinner for her husband or boyfriend. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
It was really funny. Like the whole thing was just so like funny. I was afraid she was gonna cut something because it was all like very
right.
Oh, she's not. I mean, she is too. She, by her own admission, she is clumsy. Like there were multiple times where she was on an apple box and she fell off, or they had her in like 8-inch heels or something insane. The big platform and then and she would just go over. But that was good. Everybody on that cast, Leslie Bibb and Annie Potts and everybody. Like, that's a joy. Bobby Harling, the guy who was there on set every day and one of the co-creators, did Steel Magnolias. And he's just the kindest, best person on the planet. And it was such that whole season was a joy. Yeah, it was a shame. Shame didn't do more seasons. It was
I think if it had been on like HBO or something, I think it might have caught on. I don't know, or like on AMC FX. Like I think FX would have been a good spot for it rather than network. Yeah,
I mean the name alone certainly ruffled some feathers, so that's fair. But Yeah, I think you may be right. You may be right. If it had a little more, but I mean, the funny part is the numbers were, pretty darn good. It was just sort of a choice of, they got some backlash from the name, and there was, they were like, well, weigh the pros and cons, is it worth it? And they decided to pull the plug. But that's, all that stuff is out of our hands. It's tough, when you make stuff because you want it to do well and hope it does, and you do the best you can, but you don't know the whims of, and everybody likes what they like, and rightfully so. Everybody's working so hard, every day, and when you want to be entertained, you want to be entertained.
Yeah. Well, and there's just so much competition.
Yeah.
For every set of eyeballs, there's so much that people can watch and do.
Yeah. Well, it's like starting this show, trying to break into people's habits of what they watch is a really hard thing. I mean, it's really hard, and it's this whole process is fascinating to me because it's like I legitimately believe that if people watch Ride, they will like it, and it only gets better. So if they, if you give it a chance, give it a couple episodes, get into the characters, I think it only gets better, and it's a legitimately good show. Like, I don't have to, BS or pretend like I'm trying to sell something or, whatever. Like, it's good. It's good. But I understand it takes a lot for people to go, okay, I'm gonna make that effort to get involved in something, because it's a whole world. It's all new characters. It's all everything, and it takes some time to sort of get into something. So,
well, I think that's why they had it right after The Way Home. I think they were hoping that audience would then watch this and be like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, I just think they're so different. They're so different. The Way Home's great, and they have been such a great lead-in for us because, like you said, they do. There's they had a good audience and they did really well, so that carries over. So that's nice. But it's a very, it's there's no time sci-fi elements of like ours is like just a modern Western, very real world things. Just very different, very different.
Yeah, it's too bad they don't have Heartland on Hallmark, because that would be like a perfect lead-in to Ride.
Right. Hey, you like this? This will.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, I think people will find it though, and actually, I've been pleasantly surprised how many people are like online finding it and tuning in and catching up, because a lot of people, they've done this deal with Peacock now, so it's streaming on Peacock. And so a lot of the younger people that I know, that's where they get their stuff. Like, they don't watch cable anymore. So it was, I think, confusing at first. People were like, wait, so is it on this or what time and when? And if I don't have cable, how do I find it? So it's been kind of a confusing start, I think, for some people, but people are starting to tune in and dig it, and I'm getting responses from all over and hearing how people, what they feel about the characters in the episodes. So it's really fun.
Well, you made a big impression as Gus in these.
Go on.
These episodes. I'm not just saying that because I'm interviewing you, I promise. But yeah, we all three, you can listen to the recap. We all three were like, yeah, Gus. Because it seemed like you were going to be brought in as sort of the bad man of business, we call on Hallmark. The year, you're going to buy the ranch, and we're like, I don't know this guy. But then you're actually a nice guy, and you have chemistry with Missy. So what's happening? This is going to be exciting. And so we thought he was going to be a villain, and it turned out he's got a nice smile.
Listen.
Yeah.
I always try to tell people, like, I know that Hallmark has a pattern and people are used to sort of seeing a similar story or a similar thing. And I think this is really exciting for them, because it is not like, it's not going to go the way you think. This is not the traditional thing. So they I mean, all the same ideals, and the idea of like, we're going to have romance, and we're going to have this story about love and family connection and all those things that Hallmark is so good at, and is sort of their cornerstones. But as far as the story goes, I don't think anybody knows where this is going. Like, I mean, the audience, like, I don't think you could guess, what, Valeria's history and the connections between, Austin's past, and then, Gus's character, and my character has a family that everybody sort of knows. And there's all these sort of connections that it's, the writers knew what they were doing. Like, it's one of those shows where you could watch and just sit, and it's beautiful, and beautiful views, and the actors are lovely and charming, and you can just sort of watch it passively. But you can also, if you're really paying attention, there are clues everywhere about, they show this thing and they reference, this relationship. And if you pay attention, there are clues that sort of lead, that would help you understand or help you figure out what's coming. So it's kind of fun, I think, for both. Like, some people just like to turn it on and have fun and not think about it. But if people who are like, zeroed in and watching, they will be rewarded for that. Like, there's this, the horse box, and there's a necklace, and there's a reason why, and Cash and Missy have this history, and Cash certainly has this history, with her, and there's this, thing that he's been dealing with. It's funny because I'm legitimately a fan. Sometimes I'm just watching it, like a fan.
Yeah.
To see what happens.
Did they do the shows in 2-episode blocks?
Yeah.
So you would know sort of what was happening in two episodes, and then you'd find out, okay, here's 2 more.
Right. Yeah. And and so we block shoot it. So every 2 episodes, we'd sort of have a rough idea, but also too, the creators and producers and showrunners did a great job of saying, hey, here's, we'll give you what you need to know. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like this sort of has long legs, and there's a web, and it's kind of funny because I think I grew up in a very small town, rural community, and I think it's just as dramatic as the Real Housewives of anything, or any like big city thing. And this show, I think, is great at, they are, sort of weaving this web that is, everybody's sort of got these connections, and you may think, oh, well, these people are going to be, whatever, romantically linked, or these people are going to be buddies or pair off. And then it's not quite what you think. And they, there's connections that you learn about later, and you go, oh, okay, then because
there's a lot of mystery, because all this stuff with what was Valeria and Austin talking about, what's the secret,
right?
I mean, and Tough kind of knew about it too, so what's going on there? And
she's got a ton of secrets, and that, it's her character, as the show goes, you sort of see, I mean, she has just so many layers and so many things and you do find out it, in this season, like, we're not going to prolong, leave you on like all the cliffhangers, we're not going to leave all the dangling threads. Like, in this season, you do find out some things about her and her past, and sort of, where she's been, what she's been doing. And you find out about Gus and his family, and sort of the, some reasons for why he is wanting to come there. And and they, and you get to, it's really fun. There's every episode, like I said, it sort of gets, the more they have to establish this big world. So I think for most viewers, it's probably sort of like, okay, it just seems like this is a lot, it's not, the conflict and the things that are going to happen haven't quite, hit yet. And so it's like, I tell people, like, just stay tuned, hang in there. Like, you need to know this stuff, because then when, in the next couple episodes, things start sort of.
I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. 3 friends, 2 broken promises, 1 missing manuscript. Book lovers and contemporary romance readers, don't miss this new book from Nicole Deese. In The Words We Lost, editor Ingrid Erickson is given a sealed envelope from her late best friend by the man who shattered her belief in happily ever afters, and sent on a hunt for a hidden manuscript that may finally lead to the healing she's been searching for. Buy The Words We Lost for 40% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com using code DEESE40. That's bakerbookhouse.com, code DEESE40, DEESE40. I don't think you're a Vancouver-based actor, right? You're in...
No, based out of LA.
Yeah, so how did you become involved? How did you find out about it? How did you, I assume you self-taped. How did you get involved?
Yeah. So, well, they are. There's a new CEO of Hallmark and a new head of programming, and they are these two like powerhouse women who are very smart, and they wanted to, the whole, like we talked about earlier, the concept of Hallmark's whole concept is, hey, we want to entertain people, but we want to also provide hope and love and positivity, in the world as we're entertaining people. And and I love that. I was ignorant of Hallmark, honestly, until this. I didn't, it was not in my wheelhouse. I was, very different,
yeah.
very different.
I was looking at your IMDb. I'm like, we got to get this guy in a Christmas movie. He hasn't been in any Christmas movie.
Yeah, I was very, woefully ignorant of the Hallmark world. And so I was pleasantly surprised at how much the executives and the people behind the scenes really mirror their message. You know what I mean? Of hope and love and positivity, and try, no, to entertain people and tell good stories and have interesting characters. But their whole concept of wanting to do that, the new CEO and new head of programming, they just want to share that with more people, I think, and broaden the appeal. So they're doing that with shows like The Way Home and like our show Ride, where they went, it's a very Hollywood production. I mean, they went through the traditional channels of all the Hollywood, casting offices and agents and everything, and like it is they're taking big swings at sort of bringing their message to a more inclusive audience. People with different cultures, different genders, different races, different sexualities, whatever. And I think whatever you think about, whatever politics, religion, all that stuff, whatever that is, I think everybody agrees that everybody deserves love.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's about a family when it comes down to it. And families have, like, I mean, my family, my sister's gay. We have, someone like me who's single. We have others who, my sister has three daughters. Like, I mean, we just have a little bit of everything in my family.
Yeah, it's everybody's workplace, whatever, and I always tell, I come from a very conservative world. And sometimes there is that, so I think, you probably understand. Sometimes it's a struggle to try to bridge that gap or try to help people understand, that, hey, listen, you can think whatever you want, and everybody can think, everybody's entitled to their beliefs, but I think we can all agree that everybody deserves to see themselves in entertainment, and see themselves in entertainment be loved and supported and have that. Like, what a great example for everybody, whoever you are. And so I think I love that that's what Hallmark is doing now. They're taking that, their message and their fans, and they're saying, hey, we're going to keep this, but we also are going to go to people who maybe haven't seen this, maybe don't know this, maybe haven't had support, maybe don't know what familial love is like, maybe don't know what, like forever unconditional love and support feels like. And that's, like, how great to show that to people who haven't had the fortune of having that in real life. So
yeah, I was really glad about Tuff's character that he said in this last episode that he came out when he was 17.
Yeah.
And I think that is really, I mean, there's nothing wrong with coming out stories. Those can be valid, of course. But it's kind of nice to also just have this character that's going to be treated like any other character.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, honestly, one of the things that drew me to this was the idea, and Jake, who plays Tuff, will tell you that's what drew him to it, was the idea that, hey, there are people in the world who are gay. Yeah. That's reality. That's, like, whether you like it or not, whatever it is, whatever your take on it, it is real life.
Right.
And everybody, I don't know anybody who doesn't have a family member, a coworker, or somebody in their sphere of influence that is gay. Right. So the show, if we want to depict real life, and we want to depict real ranchers, and we want to depict a real family, we kind of have to show that. And I love that it's not a thing. Nobody
and it could just be just a regular. It's not like seeped in trauma. It's just he's just a regular character.
And we're not, and it's not thrown in anybody's face.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to, like, parade anything. It's just life. It's just real life. And he's just a cowboy. And he's just, like just a normal guy. And that just happens to be part of him. That doesn't define him. That doesn't, that isn't the end all be all of who he is. And I love that. And I'm so glad that the writers and creators, created this world where, sexuality doesn't even need to be talked about. It's just, everybody likes who they like, and that's it. Moving on, tell the story.
I agree. So did you know that you were auditioning for Gus, or did you just kind of do a general audition and then they brought Gus to you?
I knew originally they sort of wanted me to tape for Gus, and so I knew that early on. And then we had meetings and Zoom. It was all Zoom. Pandemic stuff. So there was no we couldn't do the in-person stuff as much as we used to. So but yeah, and I fell in love with the director of the pilot. Paolo is just a wonderful guy, and everybody, the creators and showrunners and producers, they're just they assembled a cast that is, I really feel like it's lightning in a bottle. Like, these actors are all fantastic humans, on top of being good at the craft. So listen, it's a joy, and everybody, there's a common thread of everybody understanding what a privilege it is to be able to entertain people for a living. And I think that's important. I think that goes a long way, when you say, hey, we have to work just as hard as everybody who is working, out there to pay the bills and survive. If we're not working just as hard to entertain them, what are we doing? So there really was that sense of that. And I know, my castmates all feel the same way. And so it's a real wonderful set experience to be on a set where everybody understands the privilege and understands that we need to work, really hard and provide great stories and challenge, everything, the characters and the stories and whatever we can do to tell the best story possible, the most interesting, the most entertaining, the most action-packed episodes that we can.
So were you up in Alberta for like 6 weeks or so for filming?
About 4 months. We were up in Calgary. Yeah. Long time. Not a long time comparatively, but for the whole season. So it was beautiful. It's a beautiful country. The show does it justice. It looks like that.
And do they just use like ranches and I know some of the stuff I've seen on Heartland they've used in Ride.
Oh, but, Well, so the ranch that it's a real working ranch, and that is the ranch. Like, the McMurray Ranch is a real working ranch in Calgary, surrounding area, and they, that's where it is, and that's the location is there in that valley, and that's for everything we do is around that area and that community, and so it's all right there. I'm a little ignorant I wish I could tell you exactly where like Heartland shot or what they used, but I'm a little ignorant of that, so I don't know. What was that?
But it looks like it would be kind of grueling, and to be working on those, I know, just some of the set pieces seem like they would be kind of grueling out in the sun and everything like that with the.
It was a joy. I got, the first, I think the second episode, I got to, feed a calf, and the second, it's a working ranch. So, we were never short of technical advice. Let's say that, like, every person, there were PAs who were barrel racers who were like, had won competitions, like, everybody's in the rodeo world. Like, the head of hair is like a rodeo family, and every weekend they were going to a different rodeo, her and her kids, and like, we are just steeped in that world up there. And so it was really lovely, because it did give us we had no shortage of real life experience to draw from, and people to ask, okay, well, is this real? Is this not? Or what do you think about this? And the farm chores are all dirty and real, and the tractors and the, everything's, very much real.
Now, your character is kind of a city boy coming into the country. Do you get to ride a horse?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In fact,
was that new to you? So, have you done that?
I'll tease it. You can, if you tune in next week, or you tune in on Sunday, you can see it. But yeah, I get to hop on a horse. And yeah, I grew up, like I said, in a rural community. So I had the ability, but, it'd been, I don't know, a decade since I'd been,
Yeah.
Los Angeles actor don't get a lot of opportunities to hop on horses. So it was really nice. And they, of course, on set, they had wranglers and professional riders they also sort of trained us up. And so I got to have a little crash course and reminder so I wasn't light in the saddle, for the days that we were shooting.
So we see you dancing with Valeria and Missy. It sounds like you have musical theater experience. So doing that dancing what was that like?
No. Well, we had actually, they were very kind and give us some dance training on, like, especially the first episode, the two-step. We had to do a lot of that. So they, they sent us to two-step lessons. And so we got to learn from some fantastic instructors up there in Calgary. And then I wanted to, this is kind of a tangent, but I wanted a little more practice. So I'm not online or anything. I told this story before, but I'm not. I don't do internet dating or anything. But I created a Hinge profile. Do you know what? Hinge?
I don't.
Okay, it's like an online dating thing.
It's like Tinder or something.
What's that?
It's kind of like Tinder or something.
Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. So I created a profile and I said, listen, I'm not here for a date. This is not anything. I'm an actor. I'm on location. I want a two-stepping partner to practice with. So if you're interested in that, be a fun story, like, contact me.
Yeah, that could be a Hallmark movie. Totally. You should write that up.
I know. Well, so this lovely woman who's a high school science teacher, she happened to be in a convention. She's from Saskatoon, and her name's Tracy Thompson, and she was the sweetest ever. We met at a park, at like a public park in Calgary, and we turned on a loudspeaker and two-stepped, and I practiced. She helped me practice all day. And it was lovely. It was so nice of her. So that's how I practiced. And I mean, thank goodness, I didn't get stabbed or kidnapped or maybe might not have been the wisest thing to do, but it certainly helped. And even though you see it for a split second, I feel like we're just a half a step better than we would have been without it.
Yeah. Oh, we really should write that up as a Hallmark movie.
You really should. Listen, write the script. We'll send it in.
Yeah. If any of my writer friends are listening, go for it.
Yeah. Seriously. We'll give it to you. Hey, free. Yeah. We'll give it that one for free.
Yes. So did you have to move up there to Alberta?
Well, not really. I mean, short
for 4
term.
months.
For 4 months, yeah. So 4 months of just, everybody sort of basically moved up there short term. But so, I mean, it's a beautiful area. It's lovely. I mean, it's the summer especially is lovely. The winters, pretty cold.
Yeah.
Pretty cold comparatively to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Did you work with your co-stars in like developing chemistry at all? Did you do anything to like kind of build that?
You know what? When we first got there, we like all went on a rafting trip together, and that was really fun. And we sort of all bonded and got to know each other and hang out. And we went to dinners, and pretty quickly we all genuinely enjoyed each other's company, and it was obvious that we got along pretty famously. So I mean, pretty much all the time we would hang out, and still to this day. I've got pickleball with Cash here a little bit later. So
nice.
We're legitimate friends for me that'll last a lifetime, and really like just I couldn't speak more highly of everybody. Every single person in the cast. Lovely people.
Well, we know you can't give too much away, but can you give us any hints for what to expect coming up?
Yeah, let's just give it all away. What do you say?
Everyone tune in. Listen.
Yeah, I know. Tune in for sure. I can say I think I can say this because I think you can figure this out. So you meet in this season, you do get to meet his family.
Oh, okay.
And you get to see why maybe the McMurrays were a little apprehensive.
Okay. We were gonna get the bad men of business from his family.
You will see. Yeah. You will fully understand why his reputation preceded him, and probably rightfully so. Probably rightfully so. So I think there's a lot more drama and conflict to come. You get to see Cash and Gus. That conflict intensifies. I'll say that. Is that hopefully I can get away with that. That's not saying too much.
Yeah.
It intensifies, and there are this season, like I said, a lot of stuff that is sort of questions or mysteries do get revealed on what, like Valeria, just a million secrets, all these crazy things, and you think, what's going on with her? She's got a past, and you do get to see some of that. And
we want the melodrama.
Yeah, I mean, it is like there is that in spades. Like you will see, you'll be like I said, one of the other things that really drew me to this was it is at the core of it is strong, independent women. Nancy Travis plays the matriarch, and she's running a business and running a ranch, and she's lost her husband and lost her son, and Missy has lost her husband, and Sarah's character Val has, they're all these independent women who, they might, maybe romance is coming. I don't want to spoil anything, but
it's Hallmark. There's gonna be romance.
yeah. I guess that's not spoiling anything. That's true. But there's gonna be romance, and they're gonna have that, and they're gonna have these full lives, but their relationships don't define them. They are their own independent women, and as the story goes, you will see that it's they define themselves by their own business endeavors, their own successes, and it's really I just think it's a very powerful thing. And I think a lot of times, especially like where we come from, like conservative areas, I think women need to be told, hey, we live in a modern age now. You don't have to define yourselves by a relationship. If you want romance, you can have that, but it doesn't have to define you. You can be your own self. You can have your own career. You can have your own business. You can do your own things. And I think that message, I love that this story, as it goes, you start to see that message really resonate and come through. That they're, with these strong, independent women who are, some of them may choose a romantic partner, but it's not like the thing, in their lives.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Well, very good. Well, we have some fun get to know you questions that we end in the interview. Okay, so first one, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Oh, that's easy. It's Haagen-Dazs green tea.
Oh, okay. What is your favorite color?
Blue.
Okay. What music are you into right now?
Music. Oh, that's a good question. What music am I into right now? This is going to be cheesy, but romantic country.
Oh, okay.
I don't know whether it was the show that but I started when we, as we were shooting, I started listening to like just those sappy romantic country
Luke
songs.
Combs or someone like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is. They're really good. They're really romantic, and I dig it. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm a fan.
Okay, good. Well, what is your go-to date night food?
Date night food. Ooh. Probably, well, actually, it used to be sushi, but now it's probably pasta.
Well, sushi's good because it's very dainty. Like you don't get messy.
Right.
That's the scary part of pasta.
Right. That is, you're right. That was my original thought, was like, it's clean. I might not spill. I might not make a mess. I can it's so that was my goal. Just leave having it.
You know someone really loves you if they want to go out with you after a pasta date.
Right. That's this is my new theory, is like, listen, get you somebody who's into pasta, on a date. Then you'll know. You'll know they're into you for real, and you're into them for real.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, what is your go-to date night activity if you're doing something else? I'm doing something.
I'm gonna say, well, probably my go-to is putt-putt. Truthfully, I'm a fan. But honestly, any of that, like bowling, putt-putt, any sort of physical thing where you're out and you're doing something. I just think I love movies. I love going to the movies. But as far as a date, you don't really get to converse.
Yeah.
How do you get to know somebody? You're sitting for 2 hours in silence. You could go to a cafe later, but
yeah, if you do, because some people do dinner and a movie, but we always say in this podcast you should do movie and then dinner, or like movie and like ice cream or something like that. And because then you can talk about the movie.
Yeah, I think that's
perfect.
I think that's way smarter. I think you're absolutely right. Movie, then hang out, chat. That gives you something to talk about. Sort of opens it's like a icebreaker. Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. I also have a theory that you don't want to go to a romantic movie like on an early date, maybe later on, because that's too awkward. But I think you want to go to a movie that's just like a little bit scary, not like terrifying, like just a little thriller,
That's good advice. Now, what is the reasoning?
The reason is because it kind of encourages you to be a little cuddly because you're a little scared, like you.
That's wise.
Yes.
I like that. You know what? I think
like there was a movie called Crawl a couple of years ago about this girl, and there's crocodiles in the
I do remember seeing like a trailer for it.
Or gators. I get confused which it was.
Right, one of those.
And that would be the perfect date movie.
Yeah.
Because it has so many like, ooh.
I love it. That's great. That's great advice. I'm going to do that.
It's not like murdery or like, traumatizing. It's
you don't
want
to have a horror. You don't want to, no blood and guts. Just a little scary, some jumps. Crawl. Okay. All right. I'm gonna implement this.
Okay, let me know how it goes.
The next date night, I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, good. All right. The next question. What does you like better, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Okay. Beaches or mountains?
Man, I can't say equal. Okay, so I'll say beaches.
Okay, good. Me too. That's what I would say. Yeah. But I live in the mountains, so I think I take them for granted.
Well, you can. That's why. I mean, I'm close enough to the ocean here that, like, I probably take it for granted. But so I had to think about it. But even then, I think, probably beach. Just even if I don't, even if I'm not laying out all the time, I just seeing the ocean is lovely.
Yeah. So what's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas.
Yeah. It's really hard to beat Christmas because it's like a whole season. It's not just a day.
Yeah. And it's just, it's everything. It's, it's wrapped up with family and getting to go back and see you haven't seen in a year, and just, for a lot of reasons. And getting to like give people gifts is such a fun thing. And it's usually like cold and cozy. And again, you get to cuddle, you get to, which is, lovely.
I'm telling you, we need to get you in a Christmas movie. You need to talk to your agent. It needs to happen.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see. We'll call Mr.
Hallmark. We'll promote it. We'll talk about it.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Last question. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
Ooh, man. Romantic movie. Well, Hallmark's tough because I feel like I'm not up to date. I feel like they're so prolific. There's so many. I lose.
We got to give you like a list of like top 10 essential.
Yeah, or even top 100. I feel like there's got to be 100 like made what, in the last 5 years of Hallmark romantic movies has to be. Like they're just so
they make, I mean, something like, I mean, just Christmas movies, there's over 40. Just Christmas.
And there's all romantic. So I wouldn't, like, they're all great. Everybody tune in Hallmark, but I guess so I can't come up with that because there's so many. So I guess if I had to go with just straight romantic movie, I think I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but you know, probably something like The Notebook or
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I also like, you know, like When Harry Met Sally, and you know,
that one's classic.
Yeah, but I think so things like that, like just I'm a sap, just whatever the most romantic. Even what Love Actually is, Christmas movie, but it's also got all those romantic stories that are great. So I mean, I like them all. I genuinely, it's hard for me to pick a favorite romantic movie because it's I'm a hopeless romantic.
Well, very good. You did it. You answered all the questions.
Success. You did the game.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you so much for coming to talk with us.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. This is so fun. I'm so happy we got to meet and hang out and get to chat. I'm excited. I'll be curious to think. We'll have to touch base later on in the season and see what you think about all the twists and turns, and if you were right about, you know, who Gus was or what Val was up to.
Yeah, that would be fun. We'll do that. So if people want to follow you on social media or anything.
I'm not huge into social media. I only have my Twitter, so I'm at my name, Tyler Jacob Moore. So if anybody wants to say hey, DM me or whatever, feel free.
There's actually a different Tyler Moore on Instagram, but he's like a dancer and he's like 20, and I'm like, this is not the same person at first, because at first I was gonna tag on our Insta story today, and I'm like, no, this is not the same.
I'm not I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on TikTok, I'm not on, although one of my castmates did get me to do a TikTok once, but I'm actually not on TikTok. So just Twitter. That's it. That's where you can find me.
Great. We'll have that all in the description. People can follow you. And thanks again. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. This is so fun. Yeah, likewise.
I'd like to thank Tyler for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to get to talk with him. Let us know what you think about all the things we talked about in the comments or on Twitter. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And make sure you're following us to Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really, really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group, which is so much fun, and the merch store. Take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.